Welcome back to day 11 of our Explainer series. So if you've been hanging out with us, you know we've been building up some serious momentum. Well, today we have a very specific, absolutely crucial goal. We're going to unlock native Korean numbers. This is the exact system you literally have to use when you're talking about your age, and honestly, even more importantly, when you're counting physical objects out in the real world.
So, picture this. You're sitting in this great little restaurant in Seoul, and you need to ask the waiter for water. How do you actually order 3 bottles of water in Korean? I mean, it sounds super simple, right? But here's the catch. If you use the wrong number system, you're going to end up confusing the whole table. It's a highly practical problem, but hey, don't worry. By the end of this short explainer, you're going to have a total cheat code to count real things like an absolute pro.
You know, it's pretty wild how perfectly the Korean number system is split right down the middle. If you remember back on day 4 of our series, we completely tackled the Sino-Korean numbers. We figured out that those are strictly used for things like money, reading prices, dates, phone numbers, that kind of stuff. But today, we're crossing over. We're focusing entirely on the native Korean numbers. And these guys are specifically designed for counting physical objects, counting people, and giving your age.
Level 1. The core foundation, numbers 1 through 5.
Okay, to make this as painless and efficient as possible, we're going to treat this like a speed run. Let's build up your confidence right now with this foundational sequence. And hey, I want you actively participating here. Repeat after me out loud wherever you are. Ready? 1 is hana, 2 is dual, 3 is set, 4 is net, and 5 is dasyot. Okay, let's do that one more time straight through. Hana, dual, set, net, dasyot. Awesome.
And you know what's cool? You might actually subconsciously know some of these already. Seriously, if you're a K-pop fan and you've ever watched those behind-the-scenes dance practice videos, or maybe you've taken a martial arts class, you have almost certainly heard someone shouting, sit, nit, to count out the beat. That's it right there. That is exactly 3 and 4 in the native Korean system. So you already have this little piece of pop culture anchoring the knowledge right in your brain.
Level 2. Finishing the base, numbers 6 through 10. Now we're just going to transition smoothly to the second half of the sequence. 6 is yosot, 7 is ilgol, 8 is yodol, 9 is ahop, and 10 is yol. Okay, now for the ultimate test. Let's do a complete speed run from 1 all the way to 10, together. Hana, dual, set, net, dasot, yosot, ilgop, yodol, ahop, yol. Wow, great job. And look, the whole reason we're drilling this so hard is because once you master these 10 words, you basically have the vocabulary to count almost anything you'd ever stumble across in Korea.
Which brings us to the final boss, the global counter. Right, so there's just one final step to actually using these numbers in the wild. And I want you to think of this not as some annoying grammar rule, but as unlocking a totally overpowered cheat code that makes you sound instantly fluent. See, in Korean, you can't just say a number and point at an object. Nope. You have to attach a counting word right after the number. And yeah, there are a ton of specific counter words for things like cars or books or animals, but here is the ultimate pro tip that will absolutely save you. The word gay is a global counter. It basically just means things or items. If your mind ever goes blank and you forget the specific counter word for a bottle or a sandwich, you just use gay, and locals will know exactly what you mean.
Now to actually use our gay cheat code, there's just one tiny rule change you gotta memorize. When you plop a counter word right after the numbers 1, 2, 3, or 4, the numbers slightly morph. Hana drops the A and just becomes hun. Dual drops the L to become do. Set becomes se, and net becomes ni. Really, it's just a slight softening of the word, you know? Just to make it flow a bit better into the counter.
So let's see how perfectly this cheat code works in action. If you want to ask for one item, let's say you're pointing at this amazing-looking pastry in a bakery, you don't say hanage. Nope, using our new rule, you just say hange, one item. What if you're super hungry and want 2 of them? You ask for duge, 2 items. It is literally that clear and that easy.
You now have the exact tools you need to count the physical world around you in Korean. So here is your homework for day 11. I want you to look at your desk, or honestly whatever is sitting around you right now, pick an object, count how many there are using the 1 through 10 native numbers we just sped through, and attach that gay cheat code to it. Drop your answer in the comments below. Get some practice in today, because I'm going to leave you with this. What do you think happens when you need to tell the time and you're suddenly forced to mix both the native system and the Sino-Korean system together in a single everyday sentence? sentence. Sounds like a total nightmare, right? Well, I promise we're going to make it incredibly simple. That is exactly what we're tackling tomorrow in our Day 12 Explainer. Hit subscribe, do that homework, and I'll see you then. Whiting!